Welcome to Thinking Like a Lawyer with your hosts Ellie Mistal and Joe Patrice, talking about legal news and pop culture, all while thinking like a lawyer. Here on Legal Talk Network.
Hello and welcome to another edition of Thinking Like a Lawyer. I'm Joe Patrice from Above the Law. We are still not able to record from our usual studio, so if we sound a little bit different, that would be why. Hopefully it's not anything you would have noticed had I not mentioned it. And now I realize I probably, by mentioning it, mean you're going to hear it and it's going to be the only thing you hear. So I probably screwed this all up for all of you. But hopefully we sound great, and I'm glad everybody can still tune in. Given the events going on, it's a little bit more difficult to get people together for a show, but thankfully we have some folks who are willing to talk today. So I'd like to bring them in. I have Joey Seeber and Leigh Vickery, both of Level 2 Legal here. How are y'all?
Doing well. How are you?
We're good. Thanks for the y'all.
Yeah, well, I'm actually a big believer in the y'all, even though I have never lived south of southern Iowa. I have always been a big y'all believer. But no, so up here, I'm locked down in a house upstate, so I don't really have access to my usual stuff. So that's why It's been a little bit little bit dicey. But no, how are you all doing down there?
We're good. We're locked down like everybody else, but doing okay.
Well, in a lot of ways, I feel, and we talked nearly a month ago, it kind of feels like it should have been more. But About a month and a half ago, we were chatting at Legal Week New York about what you all do. And it strikes me that this is a good time to revisit the importance of legal technology, because many firms, while we all understand that a lot of firms have come to the realization that they need to move into the 21st century, if not the 20th, this is kind of one of those moments where a lot of law firms realized, I really do need to take seriously my firm's technological capabilities, as people have to do stuff they've never done before. So talk through what Level 2 is doing for folks, and I assume even doing without much interruption as we go through this.
Yeah, that's the truth. I mean, I think that this is it's kind of a proof point for a lot of people, right? It's not the time. This is not the time to be figuring out your technology, to be figuring out your security, to be figuring out your values and your relationships with, your clients. We pivoted quickly. We had been working on the ability for our people to work remotely in selected situations, and we're already doing that with a few people. Fortunately, we've invested in technology and kind of upgraded our systems over the last 18 months. And so when we saw this coming, actually before the orders to, shelter in place or stay at home, we went ahead and transitioned our workforce really in about 48 hours. So we have about 100 people working remotely, mostly in the Dallas-Fort Worth area.
And I'll add on to that, Joe, just being innovation is in my title, for better or worse. But for people like me, I mean, Joey hired me 18 months, 2 years ago. The infrastructure, for people in innovation, like this is a good way to see what law firms really are innovative, or if they just had an innovation officer, or any company for that matter, because you build your company, you design it for flexibility and agility for opportunity or crisis. If you're thinking with innovation, so the infrastructure we built, moving from the past, older models of law and technology to where we are now, at the risk of sounding a bit cold, this was like a dream when he gave me the red light or the green light to go, because all of this was in place where we practiced, we're ready, and it was designed. The flexibility was designed into the infrastructure for no matter what our clients needed. Never did we anticipate, a crisis to be it. But, it wasn't just a business continuity plan. It was an innovation plan so that we can be as flexible as possible, as fast as possible. That part has been interesting to see what companies really can do it or could do it or already doing it versus the ones that now are waking up a little bit too late.
This is not a black swan event. To pick up on what Leigh just said, none of us anticipated that there would be a global pandemic, but you have to be prepared for whatever is around the corner. And that, this is the time when whether or not you're really agile, whether or not you really can pivot, whether or not you've really been innovating, preparing, or have the relationships or the technology that it needs to be able to, that you need to be able to perform in these times, that's when it really comes out. And we've been very fortunate.
Yeah, and the culture to hold it up. The foundation was there from the people as well.
Well, you're saying the culture from the people is a good transition point, because even back when we last were talking, and this wasn't even on our horizons, one of the key themes that I took away from talking about level 2 was a focus on that ability to be nimble, basically, to do what you needed to do for a client, not really come down with a, here's our process, adapt to it, but more of a, let's find out what clients need and we will figure out how to pivot to do that. So the sort of skills that, probably come in very handy right now.
Absolutely. And thank you for noticing that as well.
I mean, yeah, it was, so to go back to that, the kind of the pitch for level 2 that we had back then was tell some of these stories of how level 2 works with clients when they come in and have these different kinds of requests.
I can speak to one that happened right in the middle of this crisis in the last couple of weeks. I mean, we have, first of all, I might need to back up a second. Level 2 is we're a managed service provider, not a law firm. So we support legal professionals in law firms and then enterprise corporate clients. We had a law firm with whom we've had a relationship for many years called Right as this was all kicking off. What we did was proactively send out our remote work plan and our security credentials, if you will, for working remotely to, the law firms, lawyers, and companies that we work with. And within, 24, maybe 48 hours, we got a call from one of the firms with whom we've had a relationship a long time and said, we have a very significant matter, kind of high stakes, and we'd like to talk with you about working on it. And so,
to put it mildly.
Yeah. But look, I think what happened, and again, I'm making a couple presumptions, but this is a very large, this is an AmLaw 50 firm. They have an internal team that does exactly what we do. And they obviously have many qualified attorneys, but they were reaching out to us to do it. And I got to believe it was because we were ready, and we sent them our protocol, we sent them our security measures, and they knew that we could handle it. And we had worked with them before, we had built that trust. So I think people are looking for who they can trust and who they know is going to get it done.
And Joe, it's I think an important piece here for your listeners. When Joey's talking about trust and relationship, and my team we were the point for all of this InfoSec, and he's breezing past what I am now gray-headed from some of the things. Besides the fact I can't go to the salon, I'm gray-headed anyway. But we have that relationship, so it's all right for us to say we don't know, or we'll figure it out. And we did overnight, but there were pieces that relationship allows you. It's not like you have to be, super the end all, but they guided us on a couple of things that they needed extra secure for this particular, matter specific. And it was all right to say, by in the morning, we'll be there. Now, what it took overnight to add this one particular thing, I don't want to ever go back to again, but we did it because the infrastructure was there and the relationship was there. We didn't lose it because we didn't have it. You see what I'm saying? So that's like, yeah. I don't want people to be afraid of being able, in this time, it's all right to say, okay, we'll figure it out together and we trust you. This is what we need. You just have to be able to deliver very quickly. Speed is the new currency. I
think when you operate in the environment that we operate in, we're a services provider. Client service has always been what we're about. Mm-hmm. And so as a services provider, supporting legal teams, this is what we do. So you got to figure it out.
Yeah, it really goes to, how sometimes corporate buzz speak becomes a mantra that it probably overkicks its coverage. For years in technology, we've talked about selling solutions and solutions and solutions. And it seems as though what you offer, which is probably the right answer, and taking a step back from that, is it's not that we sell a solution, we sell problem solving. You gave us something, we don't have that solution. we'll get it for you in the morning, but we solve problems. We don't have like these neat, already pre-boxed solutions to the things that are going to happen that you don't know are going to happen.
Those two things do not play well together. And so to Joey's credit too, I mean, he's an attorney. I think 99 of the 100 people are attorneys. So you can guess who is not an attorney, but he saw the value of bringing that in from outside so that you don't think in the box. We were able to add some creativity and some allowing us to take some risk in innovation. Innovation is messy. It's not, anybody selling an in-box product is not innovative. Sorry, it just isn't. But it's being able to solve a problem and quickly, like you said, and they're all specific. I mean, every client we have, you approach it, the communication style, everything has to be able to change, on a dime. And so we hire that way. We hire people who think that way so that we don't kill them in the first month. But there's that energy and that hunger to be able to solve problems for someone because you care. I mean, in a service business. But it's the challenge. That's why I said the challenge of it was not to sound cold, but I was like, hell yeah, we finally get to practice what we've been doing for a long time, and 100 people keep their jobs.
Yeah, in the first week or so of this, as it's going along, I think a lot of the people who read Above the Law and write into us were talking to us about technology from the perspective of how do I just connect? How do I show up? How do I get this done and that done? And you really hit on, in that anecdote, the next wave of the problem that people are going to have to start realizing, or hopefully have already started thinking about, which is the security aspect of it. When everyone in the world is remote, how do you keep things secure? And that's what a lot of the narrative hasn't, at least in the press and what people are asking us about, hasn't caught up to. I have so many people asking me, wait a minute, how do I get a gallery view on Zoom? And not as many people asking me, how is it I don't get bombed,
Sure,
and that's been coming up actually last night. This is off topic a little bit, but all these law schools who are continuing to teach, some of them have built-in custom solutions, but a lot of them are utilizing stuff like WebEx, and people can get into that. And so I'm already hearing stories of classes that have had to be canceled because people get in and destroy the WebEx space.
I guess they're not encrypting their video conferencing.
Well, again, it's because nobody's on the same networks, and exactly.
No, that's right.
I think that one of the things is, first of all, any of us who say, "Oh, we've got it figured out, we're 100% secure," and that can't happen to us. Just wait. I mean, there are vulnerabilities in any system.
Except for ours. But go ahead.
Well, I was about to speak to ours, and that is we connect from homes in the same way that we connect at the office. Okay, so we're connecting the same way through the same portal, if you will, and so it's just you're using a different machine. And we've been doing that for a year and a half. And so it was a matter of different equipment. I make it sound very simple. It was not. There was a lot of work that a lot of people did so that we could. But you have to be thinking about those things ahead of time. It's the crisis is not the time. As I said before, it's not the time to kind of figure out what's my security. How am I going to do this? It's too late then. You're already behind.
And we're lucky, Joe and Joey. We're very lucky because of the industry we're in. We're used to that. I mean, we're going through Citrix into law firm data. Virtual machines are not foreign, so they understand. Our workforce understands what they're doing when they're home. I mean, we've got it so locked down and auditing constantly that I'm not as concerned about that as I am, other pieces of this puzzle. But I'm curious, Joe, what you would say to this theory or idea, or is this anything? I mean, we've not been bought or sold, acquired. We're not part of someone else with different, back doors into things. And all of a sudden you're remote on top of all of that. Do you see a correlation between, the data security companies that are solid all the way through? Like, we know our infrastructure. We're not patching into this company we just bought that all of a sudden they're remote. We're not quite sure, to speak to some of the recent events that have happened with cybercrime, I feel like those companies are a bit more vulnerable right now. They don't really know what they have, and they don't, or what they're missing. Do you see that at all in from where you sit, on companies that have with multiple acquisitions recently are going to have a harder time changing this, paradigm? I'm just curious.
Yeah, no, I haven't heard any specific stories about it, but it's something that's long been a concern, right? That you take on a whole different infrastructure, or you're outsourcing how you connect to something, and that every new piece exposes some measure of risk. Depending on what you do, it may not be feasible for you to be in control of your entire infrastructure.
Sure.
So you do these things. That now you're in a different place where it's actually feasible, if not essential, that you control your infrastructure. So people in your industry, you're going to have a great advantage if you have control of know every nook and cranny of what your system is.
It's an advantage by kind of sticking to our core values all these years of independence, long-term thinking. We're not going to owe anybody short-term money. It has come out. It's like suddenly, because we're smaller, because we know our infrastructure, we know the entire security plan. Suddenly it's a differentiator that we're finding just as a result of following your values versus an intentional, maybe business decision. So it's just interesting times.
Yeah, in a lot of ways, it fills a space. So while I talk about legal tech, I come from the legal lawyer world, and you fill a space that's similar from a client perspective to the boutique law firm by being small. When a client's an in-house is looking around to who to hire, you go for the boutique firms when you really need bespoke style solutions. You need people who are very focused on a thing. They may not be able to do this grind it out forever thing that's going to go on forever, but that you might hire Skadden for. But the boutiques are where you go when you need actual specialized talent in stuff. And that's what kind of staying that small and nimble. I always see you in that kind of place of staying that small and nimble such that you can really create these solutions for people when they need them for these specific tasks that they need.
Yeah, there's no question. I mean, we're intentionally independent, and we definitely have areas of focus, if not specialty, in litigation, privacy, compliance. Those are the areas that our clients are looking to us to work with them on. And we're not for everybody. We work best when it's a long-term relationship, when we understand the client deeply and the client understands us, and we build trust over time. We jokingly refer to as that we're a much better relationship partner than we are a one-night stand. If you're looking for the absolute lowest hourly rate and we need to get this done quickly, we're probably not for you. If we have an opportunity to talk about our value or total cost or the ways in which we work, then let's have that conversation. But sometimes I do, in conversations do say, we're really more of a boutique service provider. Let's talk about what your needs are. Maybe there's a match, maybe there's not.
Yeah.
And that's okay.
We're hearing some firms that are going through some layoffs and furloughs, and we've heard of courts slowing down. But I don't really view that. It seems as though the whole chain of operation is slowing down. It's on some level, but I'm curious, and I kind of suspect the answer is you aren't really seeing that the projects that you have to work on are continuing apace.
We've added, I don't know, how many did we add last week, Leigh? 20. We've added 20.
Wow. In
the last few weeks. We have a couple of other projects that we've learned of in the last few weeks. This reminds me, we were founded in the depths of the Great Recession, and this feels a lot like that. It reminds me of that time. Our first day of operations, we had come out of a law firm, but as our own entity was in January of 2009, right between the market meltdown in 2008 and the low of the market in March of 2009. So there were a lot of lawyers looking for work, and we had some great talent. And for some people, it was just a stopping place, a waypoint. And, then they went on and did something else. And then many people stayed with us. But I do think that in difficult times, people look to who they can trust, who they know is going to get the job done. And obviously in this environment, then people are also concerned about the total cost and how can I get what I need and not pay any more than I have to. That's fine. I don't see it slowing. That's for sure.
Well, that's interesting, the timing. And I wonder, we were talking a lot about the values and how the company works. And I wonder if some of that is something of a byproduct of what you came out of, that you started when the market was rough and you started trying to appeal to clients who were facing those challenges, and it put you in a position where you built a culture that was more prepared for this sort of thing than maybe others.
I mean, we're scrappy. We're nimble. Right. I mean, you got to pivot. I can't look over the invitation to share our core values, which are not like the office core values. We live them, we hire by them, we promote by them. So it's give a damn, get it done, and show respect. And we live those values, and we get it done. That's just what we do. It's in our DNA, and it has been since the beginning.
No, that's great. Well, hopefully this, for anyone out there listening who wants to build a relationship like this, then they should reach out. Who should they reach out to?
Any of us.
Either of us, sure.
Yeah. No, we reach out. We can be found easily.
The whole company has my cell phone, Joe, and that's how we're handling any requests coming. But Joey or I, either one, would be happy to help or help people figure it out. I don't mean just get business, but if we can help them figure out their next steps too, that would be a privilege.
Well, that's great. So thanks for joining us under these weird conditions where we're all from different places, but we got it all put together.
Sure.
So on our side as a podcasting entity, we also did a little problem solving here. So we got everybody together.
Yeah.
That's right.
Thanks. That's Joey Seeber and Leigh Vickery from Level 2 Legal. Thank them for joining us, and thank you all for listening. You should be subscribed to the show, give it reviews, you know the drill. You should be reading Above the Law, where we are continuing to cover everything that's coming out of this, from the good news to the mostly bad news of layoffs right now. But I mean, obviously there's worse news in other ways, but the worst news legal industry wise, I mean.
Sure.
And if you can follow me on Twitter at Joseph Patrice. You should listen to the other podcasts in the Legal Talk Network family. Also listen to the Jabot, which is the one our Above the Law's Catherine Rubino hosts. And with all of those things said, now I feel I've got all of my boilerplate done. So thanks for listening all, and we'll talk to you next week.
If you'd like more information about what you've heard today, please visit LegalTalkNetwork.com. You can also find us at AboveTheLaw.com, ATLRedline.com, iTunes, RSS, Twitter, and Facebook. The views expressed by the participants of this program are their own and do not represent the views of, nor are they endorsed by, Legal Talk Network, its officers, directors, employees, agents, representatives, shareholders, and subsidiaries. None of the content should be considered legal advice. As always, consult a lawyer.